What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the new features that recently got added to Lightroom Classic. That's the texture slider. Kind of compare it to Clarity, see what the difference is, and just see how it works in general. So let's get into the video. I'm here in Lightroom and I want to show you two images that we can use to test out the new texture slider. The texture slider here is under the basic panel, and if you come down to the presence section, we have texture, which is right above the clarity slider. So texture is going to affect your fine details. If I zoom in here on the image here, you can see there's a lot of little fine details, and texture almost acts like sharpening, where it's going to bring out that texture a little more. So if I grab the texture slider and I bring it up, you can see that image starts to look a little bit sharper. Now if I do it quick, you can kind of see the difference there. See it pop in and out. And at the same time, if I go negative with the clarity, it's going to soften it up just a little bit. It's going to take those fine details and it's going to reduce the contrast a little bit and soften it up. If I zoom out here and I boost up that texture, you can see it mostly affects just the smaller details of our image, like the little wood grain and the little wood fibers. So how does that compare with clarity? If I grab the clarity slider and boost that up, you see in your midtones overall, and it's going to affect the details that are a little bit larger, not the fine details like in the wood, but the details that are a little bit larger. So you can see clarity adds more contrast. It's kind of like different levels or amounts of contrast. So here's texture, and here's clarity. And a negative clarity softens up the whole image, whereas a negative texture softens up mostly just the areas with those small textures or fine details. Here's another image where I want to show you how the texture slider works to soften skin. So you can take your image and just drop that texture slider back, but it's going to soften everything a little bit, including the eye here and the eyelashes, which is not what I really want to do. But just to see how the texture slider here compares to clarity, if I take clarity and I drop that back, you can almost see it gets a little hazy looking. It's just a different kind of softening on your image. It's softening different details of your image. So with the texture, you can see it keeps it more to the skin area. But what I would do and how I would generally use this is come up to my brush here, my adjustment brush, and here we have the texture right under our brushes. I'm going to reset all my settings here by double clicking on effect, and I'm going to come into texture. I'm just going to drag it to -100 so we can see what it's doing here. Make sure my auto mask is off, and I'm just going to brush on the skin where I want the texture tool to be applied. I'm going to go around her eye because I want the eye to stay sharp, and I'll just brush around the skin here. Okay, so to see where I've painted my mask, I'm going to press the letter O, and that's going to make her look like she's got some sunburn going on, but that's where the mask is. So I'm going to turn off the letter O, and now I have my texture at -100, which is obviously too much. I wouldn't want that much, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Let's try, I don't know, -20. And let's see if we zoom in here 1:1. Let's look at the forehead here, and I'm going to turn this off and back on again. And you can see it softens up the skin just a little bit there, but it retains the detail. You can still see the texture in the skin, but it softens it up just a little bit. I think I'm liking that -20, 25 or so on the skin here, and that way we get a nice soft skin that's smoothed out a little bit, but still retains the detail in the skin. So there you go, guys, a quick overview on how the new texture slider works here in Lightroom. It's pretty cool. I think I'm going to be using it a lot. So get in there, try it out. And if you're into photography, Photoshop, Lightroom, and even a little bit of video and video editing, consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.